wows with our football crew. Moments from week 6 that made our crew go wow. Jeff, why do you start us off?
Rico Dowdle talking trash to his former team. It's like a high school movie. You can't write the script any better. Then he does it. He goes out with 30 carries, averages over 6 yards a carry, just laying the hat on people. By the way, he had 4 catches for 14 plus and a touchdown. He told them what he was going to do, then ran it down their throats and showed them what he was about.
Vengeance, thy name is Rico. Kmart, what was your wow moment of the weekend?
Oh, for me, it was this Baker Mayfield sequence. Listen, he breaks a bunch of tackles, right? Look. The Baker
knows exactly where the first down is, too.
Knows exactly what to do. And then on the very next play, what does he do? Launches a 45-yard bomb to Ted Johnson, who literally thought he was the MVP. Like, he thought the chance were for him. Baker is balling. The Bucs are so fun to watch.
Bucs are fun. Peter, you were there on Monday night.
This play here is not getting enough love. The 81-yard touchdown run is what everyone's talking about. I'm on the sidelines. Bijan breaks 5 tackles in one play and does it to get a 20-yard reception. Bijan Robinson, 238 yards from scrimmage, a career high. Brittany, you know his last career high was? 181. When did he do it? His last game. This guy is putting up huge numbers and has entered the MVP conversation.
I think that's right. His coach said, I heard you say it, his coach says he's the best player in the league, and he may be right. Neek, last one. Maybe we saved the most fun for last.
Oh, yeah. It feels like it's all running backs, and I'm going with Bam Bam Cam Scatterboo. He seems like the most fun rookie in the league right now. He's lighting up New York City. He doesn't seem to, I mean, you made literary references earlier. I'm sure Cam would have gotten all those. That man, that looks like a man that loves to read and also run through somebody's face.
Yes.
I love Cam
Emily
Scatterboo.
Dickinson,
He's so much
I'm
fun.
sure he's reading it, yes.
The best of times and the worst of times when Cam runs through your face.
All right, so it was against the Eagles that he did that. That game feels like 10 years ago. That's just the world we live in now. But we haven't seen the Giants since then. They're feeling good. We haven't seen the Eagles since then. They're not. Kevin Patullo is their offensive coordinator, and he was talking about some of the struggles that they've had on that side of the ball so far this season. Here's what he said.
Last year we had some kind of weird things going on that we needed to work through and continue to throughout the year. I think that's a lot of teams that are in this spot right now. If you watch around the league, there's a lot of teams that are kind of still finding their way, and I think that's kind of where we're at. There really, to be honest, has not been one specific thing, and that's where we got to just continue to do a better job as a staff and put the guys in position and then just execute it as we go. And that's kind of the biggest thing that we talked about yesterday, too, as an offense, is like there's not one thing, not one person, it's all of us.
Okay, fair enough. So he doesn't sound like the sky is falling. The world talks about them like the sky is falling. Is the sky falling?
Yeah, the looming question is whether this is a bump in the road or this is 2023 all over again.
Right.
Where they had those major issues with Brian Johnson as their play caller, who they hired from within, and the offensive production went down. This offense right now is worse than that offense was. They internally are not raising any alarm bells. They internally are saying, everyone calm down, everything's going to be okay. Externally, though, you look at all the numbers and you listen to the sound. Lane Johnson, who's such a veteran and a leader on that team, after the game on Thursday said their offense was way too predictable. That is their team talking publicly. And of course, we had the whole issue about was there a meeting, was there not a meeting? A.J. Brown says there wasn't a meeting. Guess what? There might have been a meeting. We don't know for sure what that meeting was. That said, Saquon Barkley's on pace for 921 yards right now, 46% of what he had last season.
Listen, when the team wins the Super Bowl, Windy, our friend Brian Windhorst, has a great expression in basketball that applies. He says winning a championship means never having to say you're sorry. Right. So we give them the benefit of the doubt. But the truth is, we were having these same conversations last year.
Exactly.
The difference is Saquon Barkley got as hot as any running back has ever been, and they just rode him all the way to the Super Bowl. If he's not running the ball like crazy, Jeff, that offense is a legitimate concern.
But what you said is the part you need to focus on. They were 4-2 last year. Same time, almost identical offensive numbers. Got it right, got hot. Saquon starts making it. The same thing Kevin Patullo is talking about is the same thing they went through with Kellen Moore. It's changing that doesn't just blend, y'all. It takes time. It's nuance between Jalen Hurts and Patullo, between Patullo and the run game. All of it will end up being together. When you look at their roster, they got dudes everywhere, including the offensive line. They will find a way to work this out. They will figure out, if you don't think Jeff Stoutland, one of the best offensive line coaches in the business, can get this run game fixed, you're lying to yourself, because he will get it fixed. And I do appreciate what Lane Johnson said. Maybe they are predictable. Maybe they are, but when they go back and look at it, it's each and every one. Because if you watch the film, it'll be one guy one time, another guy another time. They have all the pieces and the parts. I trust that more than I worry about what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, having the pieces and the parts is important. That means that they are capable of doing it. It doesn't mean that they will. And I think as calm as they may be on the inside, all the things that Peter started with, they're true. Like the scuttlebutt outside of the locker room sounds louder than it is inside the locker room, but they're giving us ammunition. They're throwing gas on this flame.
Right.
The things that AJ's saying, the things that Lane's saying. It's concerning, and I think that it's not just going to come together because they have all the talent.
Here's what I've heard over the years being around this team. I've heard losing in this building is different. It feels different, and there's a reason. You know, I think back to that Super Bowl that they won, and it wasn't the elation that I saw. Like, it wasn't, I remember Jalen just sort of being like, okay, like even putting on the ring when he got it, sort of like he didn't even put it on. I just feel like it felt like relief more than, guys, we are it. And I think over a course of a season, it wears on them. Like all the talking that's come out of their building, we would not be worried about them if they weren't also talking about the predictability of the offense or guys just not being on the same page. Those are their words, not ours. So to Jeff's point, I think they will be fine. But internally, it's not always, they're sort of looking for answers still.
Yeah. If you look at this would tell you the defense is more of an issue than the offense, right? Like if you're being real,
they're being
and you want to look at that, right? Like so Vic Fangio, they'll figure out that's so it's not that they don't have issues. I don't want to minimize issues, but they
defense?
No, I'm saying from numbers. I'm just telling you, we always make mountains out of molehills when we're talking about it. Buffalo lost 2 games, and I was here all day yesterday. No one said a breath, man.
Well,
it's like, you know what?
That's coming up in the season.
Yeah. Right. I'm just telling you, it matters.
We're talking about that.
We're talking about
the
Eagles.
that.
That's why it matters, is because we're talking about Sirianni leading the team. There's always gas on the fire.
You can't pretend.
Yes, you can. I just did.
That team was great. Like, we have expectations that they've set. They have expectations for themselves. We're not just going to say that it's all going to be all right. As many teams as you've been on, when there were problems, you didn't just wave your hands and say that's going to be all right. You figured it out. You had a path to get it done. We just don't see the clear path.
Right, because we don't know Patullo yet. But you're taking away everything from players and be like, well, Patullo can't figure this out. That's where I disagree. It's happened 4 times for the Eagles, man. They will figure this out.
Okay, have to leave it there for the moment, but we'll have more on them as we go. Next, a segment we call Super Bowl Pretender or Contender. Jeffrey, your Indianapolis Colts. Super Bowl pretender or contender?
Absolute contender. Listen, this team is top 5 in passing, top 6 in rushing, leading the league in scoring. They got a top 3 scoring defense. All of this, they got an offensive line that's mauling people. Jonathan Taylor's putting the ball, making it happen. Warren has been an insanely good addition to this offense. You got Pierce, Pittman, Downs. These guys are all, it's balls being spread around. Steichen's done a great job. This is a very good football team. They're absolute contenders.
And you didn't even mention the most special weapon, I think, is Tyler Warren, the guy catching the ball right there. They'll put him at quarterback. They put him at fullback.
Everywhere.
They put him at tight end. They'll split him out. He's an incredible weapon. And the defense, I think, is getting better. With the new coordinator, I think they'll get better as the season goes on. I think Jeff is absolutely right. These guys are real Super Bowl contenders.
That would be a story. Kmart, Baker, and the Bucks. Pretender or contender?
You already know. They're a contender. In a season of injuries, the Bucks continue to be down, guys. And what does Baker do? He continues to find ways to win. Yeah. Hembo sent me these stats. He's first in the league in 40-yard passing touchdowns, first in 30-yard passing touchdowns, and first in 20-yard passing touchdowns. Dang. He did it without Emeka Egbuka. He left in that game. No Mike Evans. So many guys are injured, and he just finds ways to win.
No Chris Godwin, no Bucky Irving. Peter, when/are they getting all these people back?
Look, Bucky's not going to play in the Monday night game against the Lions. We know you're not going to get, obviously, Chris Godwin, but the thought is maybe Mike Evans comes back, but Egbuka likely will not play, and then you have the bye week, and you can get these guys back. Truth of the matter is, Cade Otton and Tez Johnson and Cameron Johnson, it doesn't matter to them. Next man up, it's been their story all season.
Now, they win all these close games, and then Baker had his masterpiece on Sunday. Finally, Neek, Pittsburgh Steelers, pretenders or contenders?
I mean, I think they're pretenders. I got to be the only one being negative up here. I think they'll probably win the division, but the question is Super Bowl contenders. I have a hard time seeing them with the way that their defense is playing. It's okay, but it's not the dominant defense that we've grown accustomed to. The theory for the Steelers for the last several years is if they could just get an offense to pair with this great defense, they'd be fine. The defense is no longer great, and the offense doesn't really seem like it's consistently rolling. We'll see what happens when they match up against some higher caliber teams.
Or we'll see if the offense gets better and better, as their quarterback suggests it might. He's 41 years old, but Aaron Rodgers says he is finally now starting to feel like his old self.
I think I'm kind of going like this body-wise. You know, I'm just getting healthier. I had a great break on the bye week. I'm feeling like, first couple weeks, I was a little tighter, I felt like, and I'm starting to loosen up and feel a little bit more like myself.
Look, we had a good discussion on Sunday Countdown about whether this group around Rodgers is comparable to the group that Brady had when he went to Tampa. And the answer was generally no. Brady had better players. He had a better defense, as good as we think this defense should be, and he had all the rest of that. The point, I guess, is if Rodgers, who has been something of a facsimile of himself, does really start to feel better, does start to get hot, does start to play a little bit more like an MVP than what we've seen the last couple of years. Does that change anyone's mind about the Steelers being ready to make a deep run?
It does not for me. I don't see them being able to sustain this offensively because they don't run the ball well. And as teams start to score, right, they play the Browns, who has a great defense, but they're not scoring any points. So you can stay conservative. You can stay kind of in your game plan. And you still saw Aaron having to move out of the pocket and make throws on the run. At some point, the pressure is going to catch up to them. I think they have to be better. They have to establish the run in a much better way, and they're going to have to make sure DK Metcalf, but it's going to be led by the defense. If their defense doesn't play lights out, this team is not going anywhere in the playoffs.
Kmart, you had their game this past weekend. What did you hear from them? What did you observe?
I love this defense, but being in that locker room, standing in front of Jalen Ramsey, and he's talking about, he had 2 sacks in that game, by the way, but he's talking about, I'm on this defense, you turn around and you see just the versatility. I'm playing with TJ Watt. I'm playing with Highsmith. I'm dealing with Nate Herbig. Like, all of these guys together, they are tough, but it's almost like the Browns. When we talk about the Browns, like, they have a great defense, and yet the offense is kind of dragging them down. That game, that score at halftime was 9-3. So when I look at this offense, it's a lot of get the ball out quick. Aaron's got to get it out quick, kind of dink and dunk a little bit, and then he makes this tremendous touchdown throw in the back of the end zone. I think that is hard. It's hard to sustain. Especially when you got to go against good teams with really good offenses.
I think it's early in the season, so there's hope that the offense gets better. You could still say Aaron Rodgers is just starting to feel completely better about his Achilles. The offense is growing around him, so they could get better. And the talent on defense certainly suggests that they could be dominant, but you actually need these things to happen. If you check in on them in 4 weeks and they start playing that way, it's a different story, but we haven't seen it yet. We've seen a defense with more names, but they've actually taken a step back as far as production is concerned. And you've seen Aaron Rodgers in this offense not really take control of very many games.
Peter, put a ribbon on it.
I think there was a hesitancy to jump in on the Steelers because of that mix of familiar old school names, the Jalen Ramseys, the Aaron Rodgers, and of course the DK Metcalfs. All these names are like, well, are they on the back nine? Truth of the matter is, their young guys have been playing better than expected too. So there's this great mesh. I was a little hesitant saying, yes, Steelers, they've got it because it's a long season. But they have a young core that's helping out as well. They are pretty well balanced.
And the stat that was on the screen a moment ago was a good one. They have as many wins as the entire rest of their division does combined. So, you can't win the Super Bowl in the first 2 months, but you can lose it. Absolutely. The other teams may have lost it. So the Steelers might have themselves a better season than we thought.